This is Unpaid Critics.
Alright, so welcome to another segment of Unpaid Critics. I am Larry Bravo, and joining me today, like always, is Cesar Conde. And today we are going to be talking about some interesting developments that kind of unintentionally leaked because Sony was recently hacked over the whole scandal of the new Seth Rogen and James Franco film, The Interview. Apparently North Koreans don't want that fucking movie to come out, and I can understand why, because they're a brainwashed people. But anyways, more on that later. This show isn't about that. But what's most interesting about this situation is that Spider-Man, Sony owns the Spider-Man intellectual property, at least the film rights for it. And this whole leak, we've discovered that they've been in talks with Marvel. And supposedly Marvel is trying to cut a deal with Sony to get Spider-Man back. So, Cesar, what do you think about all of this that's going on?
Well, it's encouraging and it's disappointing at the same time. It's encouraging because we know they had the talks, and it's disappointing because we know the talks stalled. And I understand that the deal was that Marvel was gonna take more of a load in the production cost. They were gonna do a 60-40. Then Marvel was gonna take 60% of the production cost, and then Sony was gonna take 40. But that would have meant that Marvel was gonna have creative control, because obviously they're putting more money. They're gonna have the control, and that's why the shit stalled. And Sony said, "Fuck that, we can't lose Spider-Man."
Right,
dude. I think that this is a fucking tragedy. Though whatever they've been doing with Spider-Man is a disgrace, bro. And it all started with Spider-Man 3. We know the story with Spider-Man 3. We know Sam Raimi was all fucked up about it because he had his story, he had his movie set up, and the higher-ups were like, yo, we need Venom because Venom is a popular character and we need to make more fucking money. Yep. And they fucked this shit up.
They want to sell more action figures.
Yeah, they fucked the whole shit up by fucking putting too many villains. Venom was miscast. It was just a fucking disgrace, bro. And then
it was unfortunate, yeah.
Obviously, that tension moved on to Spider-Man 4, that being canceled and then rebooting over. I didn't like the idea of a reboot. I think they did great with the casting in the reboots, but the movies were just trash to me. Amazing Spider-Man 2 was fucking disgustingly bad. And
ouch, that bad.
And you know what? It all seems to be because of the studio, bro. Like, that seems to be the common thing where all these Spider-Man films fail is because of the studio. And let me tell you something, bro. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, and I know a lot of people's favorite.
You got the hoodie thing on, I can see.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's favorite superhero, bro. And I would even argue that it's the most popular superhero. I mean, before the Nolan movies came out, I know Batman has all the rage now because of whatever, but it's all because of those Nolan films were amazing. And also they got some amazing video games with the Arkham games. So that made Batman rise. But in reality, bro, for the past decades, Spider-Man has been number one. And in Spider-Man 1 and 2, the original Sam Raimi films were like the most successul movies of their time.
They were great.
And they were also critically
and it's pretty much what started.
So, dude,
what started all of this this superhero phenomenon,
Yeah, so it fucking sucks that they've been fucking up Spider-Man just because of some studio bullshit, bro. And, dude, I just think it would be in way better hands with Marvel. I mean, they have the resume right now that they don't fucking miss. And
they don't. They've been doing really good. They have their track record.
Dude, and that's their number one superhero. It's crazy the success that they've had. And their most famous guy is Spider-Man, and they can't even touch him. And they've had this success. Just imagine what they could do with Spidey. So
it would be wonderful, yeah.
What do you think?
I agree with most of your points. Just a little bit more insight into what I had read about this whole scandal with the talks and everything like that. Supposedly, I mean, I think something good could come out of this. I wouldn't just dismiss it or write it off right away because supposedly some inside sources from Sony are also saying that like the higher ups, they're starting to see things a little differently. And who knows, maybe now that this actually leaked and more people are going to see it and be like, fuck, man, this could have happened. Maybe it will happen. From what I read, the talks haven't been completely shelved just yet. So they may revisit it, and we might get to see in the future Spider-Man coming back to Marvel, which would be fucking awesome. But I think that Sony and a lot of other studios as well, they've seen how successful Marvel has been now with what they've been doing with their extended cinematic universe. And I think a lot of studios naturally want to follow suit because they've seen how successful Marvel has been, and they want to copy that same formula and also rake in the money. But they have to be careful about how they do it. You know, I think part of the reason why Marvel has been so successful is because at the end of the day, they're the ones handling the fiction, and there is a reverence there to the source material, and they're adamant about, you know, presenting it in a way that's not going to piss off the fans, but that at the same time is going to be able to lure people in that don't know about the comics and stuff like that. But some of these other people, like Sony, case in point, I mean, I guess with Spider-Man, you know, now with these reboots, you look at Part 2 and like the whole Sinister Six setup at the end, like I think that they're trying to emulate Marvel, and they're trying to rush it and do it their own way, but they're just fucking it up, you know, which is why so many people, I think, hated the second one. I didn't hate it as much as you did, and a lot of other people did, but I was disappointed as well, you know, especially if you look at the other classic, like Raimi films, like you mentioned, Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. I mean, those are like the holy grail of comic book movies. But yeah, and even Universal Studios now, this Dracula movie that just came out, which was, I think, a piece of flaming dog shit. I didn't see it, but I think it fucking bombed, critically and commercially. But supposedly, yeah, Universal now is trying to take their classic horror characters like Wolfman and Frankenstein and Dracula and create their own extended universe. So you can see now the effect that Marvel has had on the film industry. Yeah. But yeah, man, this is exciting stuff. It is kind of like one of those things where if it doesn't come true, it would suck. But at this point, I'm still kind of optimistic. I wouldn't write it off just yet. The
problem with that, though, is that Marvel moved on. I don't know if I've read some ramblings about how Black Panther is going to... Look, when the news came out of Civil War, I was thinking... Because there was rumors back then that Marvel wanted Spidey. And
I remember that, yeah.
When Civil War came out, I was like, yo, they can't do this without Spider-Man. I mean, the comics is like a major part of it. It's him, Captain, and Iron Man. And then the rumors, I was like, oh shit. But then I read that the Spider-Man part it got filled up by Black Panther. So Marvel basically moved on and were like, okay, we can't wait for you guys. We have all these dates already slated. So they just put on Black Panther, which is fine. If this hype or whatever happened can bring back Spidey, it might be on another film. And it's going to be very tricky, bro. I think... Yeah. Dude, I love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I think he was perfect, bro, for it. I don't know if they would just reboot Spider-Man or just bring Garfield in. Like, it would be tricky to how to make it work. But at this point, though, I trust Marvel more than anything. The Sinister Six and all that shared universe is shaky right now, bro. They're walking on eggshells. I heard that after Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do that great financially, they were plans of scrapping all that Sinister Six and Venom movie stuff. So I don't know.
No, like you just look on the internet and it wasn't very well received. And also critically, it kind of polarized. It had a polarizing effect. You know, you had people that loved it or liked it, and then you had people that thought it was really fucking bad or they didn't enjoy it. Yeah. But yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think by now there's almost like a franchise exhaustion with Spider-Man, because even when they were announcing a reboot, me personally, I wasn't in part of the camp that believed that we needed a reboot this early.
It's too early. It was too early, bro. It was two little years removed from the Spider-Man 3.
Right. So at this point in the game, if like I would love if he returns to Marvel, but they can't do another reboot, man. You know, like I think what they would do is sort of like what DC's gonna try and do with Superman or with Batman with the second Superman film. They'll probably introduce Spider-Man, give him his own arc, but bring him in, like, not an origin thing, but just bring him in another film, and then maybe he'll get his own movie, but not an origin story.
Yeah, dude. To be honest with you, bro, I just got my fingers crossed that Sony will look at the reaction of this shit and how everybody is hyped for him to go back to Marvel, and maybe they can wait because Spider-Man deserves better, bro. To me, he's the number one superhero. He lost that shit to Batman. Batman is amazing, I get that, but Bruce Wayne is never gonna be Peter Parker, bro. And I just hope that Spider-Man gets the chance to have good movies again, bro, because it's just what's been happening with Spider-Man, the suit change and the reboot, like. There's so many fucking things that they're just doing wrong, bro, and all that setup is not good. He deserves a good movie, bro. I just hope he goes better.
He really does. But those first two were outstanding, and I think that they've stood the test of time.
They have.
I mean, I guess some people would watch them now and, you know, say like, oh, maybe they're corny or campy. But I think that's part of what gives them their charm, you know. And they had that.
They capture those movies. They have a comic book feel.
Yeah,
more so than like the Dark Knight movies, which is more realistic. But
right. These were more lighthearted, but they were fun. They were entertaining, and they were still, you know, thought-provoking and emotionally intense and enjoyable films all around. And really, if you think about the impact, I mean, Spider-Man, they were trying to make a film. Because he's been a popular character for Marvel for years.
He's the most popular character for Marvel. No
yeah,
question.
so I think that when it came out, it was like the perfect time because finally the technology was there and they could make this character come to the screen, and it was perfect. It was awesome, and it started all of this. So
yeah. All right, well, so that's our discussion on the Spider-Man, Sony, Marvel email leaks. Here's hoping that Marvel will get the rights to Spider-Man, or at least they can cut some kind of deal so they can do it. And this was Unpaid Critics. That's Larry Bravo. This is Cesar. Enjoy.